Abu Ubaida, the spokesperson of Al-Qassam brigades, Kataib al-Shahid Azzuddin Al-Qassam, he's back and he made a new statement. And I wanted to share some of the things that he said with you based on the recent developments that are happening inside of the Gaza Strip and the humiliation that the genocide terror army is facing against the resistance fighters in Gaza. I mean, humiliation after humiliation, I'm telling you. This last campaign by the Palestinian resistance, David Stones, has been a nightmare on the Israeli terror forces. They're taking down buildings with like 12 or 15 terrorist Israeli soldiers, APCs, all sorts, 105s, everything under the sun, increasing their attacks. So Abu Ubaida, he had a statement, short statement that he made today. And he said, the enemy has no choice but to stop the aggression or face more coffins. So, as in either stop the war or you're going to go back in coffins to your genocide state. Abu Ubaida, spokesperson of Al-Qassam brigades, confirmed that the losses incurred by the Israeli enemy today in Khan Younis and Jabalia are the extension of a series of qualitative operations and a model for how the enemy forces will be confronted wherever they are present. Abu Ubaida said in a statement on Friday evening, the enemy's people have no choice but to force their leadership to stop the war of extermination or prepare to receive more of their sons in coffins. He added, our mujahideen, the heirs of the prophets, continue to throw David's stones at the chariots of Gideon, or Gideon's chariots, crushing the tyranny of the occupation and causing it to perish. They record with their heroism the victory of the oppressed, believing group over the arrogant, oppressive group. And they continue this report. 6 Zionist soldiers were killed and 17 others were wounded, some seriously, in special military operations by the Mujahideen in the Gaza Strip. And Israel is confirming. So Abu Ubaida, in short, is saying David Stones, the Palestinian David Stones, are crushing Gideon's chariots or Netanyahu's wheelchair. You choose. That was the latest statement coming from Abu Ubaida after, well, we haven't heard from him in several weeks, but now he's back and he made this statement for us. Now, the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Europe is beginning to realize that something is going wrong. I mean, 18 months into a live streamed genocide where, I mean, if you showed what happened in Gaza in the past 18 months to a jellyfish, they would know that it's a genocide, let alone a human being. So what? I mean, are jellyfish more intelligent than European leaders? What is it exactly? But anyway, the European leaders now are trying to kind of say that there's a problem here, you know. It might be, you know, a war crime, you know. It might be a genocide, we're not sure. However, things are moving towards the right direction, but, you know, slower than a snail that has multiple injuries. Now, they're saying this, the EU. Costa hence, EU could penalize Israel over Gaza offensive. Diplomats are weighing plans to downgrade ties. Again, 18 months into a genocide. 19 months into a genocide, or 20 months soon. Despite opposition from some capitals. These capitals, by the way, we were talking about Hungary and the Czech Republic. Germany too, probably. But Hungary and the Czech Republic are very, very staunch supporters of Netanyahu and Israel. Whereas Ireland is almost fully on the side of Palestine. Spain is taking a very strong position. Other countries too, like Norway and what have you, there's a shift. There's a shift. But listen, I mean, there was a statement from Canada, Britain, and France the other day that was also, you know, not the traditional statement, right? But what is he saying, Costa here? He said that the agreement that we have with Israel forces Israel to abide by certain laws, humanitarian laws, basic human rights. Now, we may find that Israel is breaching human rights. Again, almost 2 years into a genocide, and Europe is now realizing that, oh, hold on a second, Israel's breaching human rights. Oh my God. 20,000 children, 50,000 in total, tens of thousands under the rubble. And now you're realizing, يخرب بيتك, as we say in Arabic. Good morning. But anyway, according to them, we might have to cut this agreement, but they can't cut the ties completely with Israel. And why? Why are they saying that? Because apparently for them to cut ties with Israel completely, there needs to be a consensus. Oh, everyone needs to agree that they need to cut the ties with Israel. But Hungary and the Czech Republic apparently are still taking very, very supportive positions for Israel. As a matter of fact, Benjamin Netanyahu went and met Orban. He was in Hungary. So Netanyahu was in Europe. And that was an attempt from Netanyahu to show people that, look, I can put my foot down in Europe and you can't do anything about it. Despite that, he was petrified. He was trying to get guarantees from multiple countries, making sure that I can fly over to the United States. Because after he met with Orban, he went to see Donald Trump for the meeting he was invited to. Basically a telling off coming from Donald Trump when he told him that you need to be reasonable, basically. And he made him hear a few things that he didn't really like. So he's still supporting him. And according to this report here, Europe cannot completely cut ties with Israel unless there's consensus. But there can be a move taken that will harm Israel, at least by the majority of the states, because they will be voting against the agreement that they have with Israel, because this agreement obliges Israel to adhere to certain things, like humanitarian laws, basic human rights. And of course, again, now they're saying, oh, Israel might be in breach of, human rights. But it's serious. Why is it serious? Because 2 weeks ago, the Israeli foreign minister, he went to Europe just over 2 weeks ago. He met with European leaders, and they already told him about this. They already told him about the next expected moves. Netanyahu had an option to reach an agreement. He didn't. And now he's facing this. And again, look at how much time Europe has given Benjamin Netanyahu. Of course, the United States is a whole different story. Marco Rubio was imposing sanctions on Iran and the ICC today. He's saying that how dare the ICC have these illegal moves against the Israeli prime minister? Sanctions. Poor ICC and ICJ trying to preserve, what's left of this international judicial system, only to be met with Marco Rubio and with the American administration threatening to kill them, basically. But this could cause a lot of headache to Israel. Why? Because Israel is a very big economic partner to Europe, both when it comes to export and import. Israel relies heavily on a lot of tech being imported from Europe. Israel is a big exporter to Europe when it comes to technology. Again, there's a lot of trade happening. Lots of businesses are sold and purchased from both countries, startups too. Israel has a very big interest in the security market or the arms industry, especially with many European countries too. So that can cause them big problems. And these moves that are being proposed now by these European countries could give Israel a headache. Because who will they have after this? Okay, we get it. The United States, they support them. They fund them too. Europe is second. If Europe takes this action, even if we keep the United States, it's a very, very hard hit. And by the way, observers in Israel, politicians, and people at the top levels of the political echelon are saying that this would be a case of national threat. It would be a national disaster for Israel. Some people said that it would lead to the destruction of the state of Israel. If Europe starts to cut economic ties, if they don't have the same relationship that they had with Israel, and if they start to boycott them. But that's where Benjamin Netanyahu is leading the country, and clearly Europe, after the threats that they have made to Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, they are going ahead with some moves at last.